Hi everyone, and welcome to today's Lunch and Learn. My name is Karen Shanung, and I'm part of the CodaBears team. Today I'll be presenting in Kinetic MES, which is the Manufacturing Execution System. The topic for today is MES Supervisors specific, since the Shop Tracker is only available if you have MES Supervisor permissions. So first I'll start off to show you what permission is needed for a shop supervisor. Then I'll show some of the different screens and cards available for MES supervisors to review in the shop tracker. You'll see an example of the resources, who is here, who is not here, the active resources, and shop warnings. Each of those cards that are part of shop tracker. So here we can see in the employee menu item, when we brought up employee number 105, for Charles Johnson, he has the box checked for shop supervisor, which then allows him to use the tab, or now they call it a card in Kinetic, in MES data collection that is named supervisor. So once Charles is clocked in and logged into MES, the supervisor tab or card is available to him from the main data collection screen. On the Supervisor tab, we will be using the Shop Tracker to review the current information about shop activity. Clicking the button for Shop Tracker will display the 5 tabs cards, which are shown here again, as mentioned, the resources, who is here, who is not here, active resources, and shop warnings. So using the Resources tab / card to display information about shop employees and machines. So any of your resources will be listed in your resource groups here. You can use the magnifier on the upper right here. You can search and select one or more resource groups to be available in the top grid. As you select a row in the top grid, then the resources grid here will show resources for that resource group. Possibly the other 2 grids will be filled in also if you have any labor that is happening for the resource group. It would show in this thread, and if you have any labor that is happening actually for this resource itself, it should show in this grid. I have had some intermittent incorrect results. For example, the labor was still open the next day, but was not showing for the labor grids. The resources and resource group grids were still displaying correctly, but the resource group labor was not showing and the resource labor was not showing. So you may have to verify that in your version of Epicor. Notice also that you have a filter icon on each grid if you would like to filter your results. That will bring up a filter above each column that you can select different options to filter by. So within the shop tracker, you can expand the card for who is here, and that will display automatically. Employees who are clocked in and not clocked out will be shown. So you can see in a demo database, basically we've had some people clocked in for a long time, and it shows their actual clock-in date and their actual clock-in time, and other information, including some columns that aren't shown here if you scroll over. Again, you have a filter option here for this grid too. So viewing the details in this card should bring to your attention users who have been clocked in for a longer period of time than they should be. For example, as I mentioned, the first 4 rows here have dates way before the current date, so those users should be clocked out. Who is not here? When you expand this card for who is not here, employees who are not clocked in and should be clocked in by the current time will be shown, and that's based on their shift. Take note that there is a scroll bar if you have more than are displayed in the grid. Here you can scroll down to view the rest of them. Notice again you have a filter icon on the grid if you wish to filter your results. For example, if you wanted to filter by the supervisor ID, then you could see who is not here for your supervisor ID, for example. Active resources, that is another card shown in the shop tracker, and that will show the departments or resource groups and resources working in labor transactions that are currently open. A transaction is considered open when someone is clocked in but not yet clocked out of the transaction. So here we can see 2 different users clocked into the same job. I guess I didn't get the operation that got cut off here. So they might be on different operations or they might be on the same operation. This card displays information for indirect, setup, and production labor transactions. Again, you can use the filter here to view all labor that is open for a specific job, employee, resource, etc. You can pick any of these columns to filter by. Shop warnings. This shop warnings card available in Shop Tracker lists all shop warnings that you have activated with global alerts. So you You can set up your global alerts to tell you when your operation is over estimate, for example, is shown here. Again, you have a filter for the grid to filter as needed, and you can see with the scroll bar there's quite a few still shown for shop alerts, and I just sorted them by the date here by clicking on the column. You can sort by that column. Clicking the buttons for history here, you can choose to move some of the global alerts from history or from the screen to history if you wish. When I was testing it in Kinetic, it did not look like it did anything for any of these buttons, but then I used what they call the overflow menu, which is this little 3 dots here, and refresh the screen showed that the shop warnings were indeed moved to history. So just be aware of that if you're clicking a button and it doesn't look like it did anything, you might want to use your overflow to refresh your screen. And again, as you move around in these screens and verify things, you might want to do that in your test system before actually doing it in live system. Most of this information on the shop tracker is read only, so you're only seeing what's available, but using these buttons makes it no longer read only. It moves items out of your grid here. Normally, I recommend you try things out in your test environment so you can see the results. But as I mentioned, this is a tracker, so things are basically read-only except for moving those shop warnings. So testing those buttons, you want to make sure you do that in the test environment first. Thank you, everyone.
Want more CodaBears Lunch and Learn? Check out our channel for more videos or contact us on our website for registration information.